More Vlad, more Papoose, more BS. Let's talk about it. They 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 talk about it. Welcome back to She Could Talk the Podcast. I'm your host, Gangalee. Hey, and that's Gangalee on all streaming platforms if you want to check out my music. Look for the red glasses, look for the locks. You tell me if I can rock, okay? Okay, but over here on YouTube, on She Could Talk to Podcast, this is where I react to everything. I react to news, sports, crimes, musicians, politicians, YouTubers, TikTokers. If they're talking about it, I'm talking about it, okay? Okay, so as promised, you guys asked and I shall deliver. I always do what I can for my talkers. Shout out to you all, e-kisses to the talkers. I do my best. You said, hey, you want me to stay here in the trenches of the Vlad and Papoose interview. He's doling them out. I told you we were going to go through a couple of installments. We're now on 8. I compiled, if you haven't checked out my last one, it was 6 through 7. Now we're on 8. On this one, it's basically Papoose addressing the rumor of is Claressa Shields the breadwinner in the relationship. What do you all think? I want you to stop it right here on the marker. Join me in the comments and you tell me your opinion. Let's do a consensus. Do you think Claressa is the breadwinner in this relationship? All right. But anyway, nonetheless, we're going to get into it because it's not a long one. And I'm pretty sure, I feel like he has about 3 more installments set up for us before he actually drops the full video, like the full interview. So I'm here for it. I'm here for it, guys. You know, I'm going to give it to you as they come. But we're going to react to this. This is installment number 8. And this is basically Papoose addressing the rumors of Claressa being the breadwinner. Let's get into it.
Because, you know, at the end of the day, look, like, I had Crip Mac on my show, you know, the other day, right? Crip Mac, big, huge gangster dude, 300 pounds and so forth. He gets into like a little sparring match with this dude, Dean the Great, who's like 150 pounds, and Dean knocks him out.
Wow.
Wow.
Literally half his size, but someone that knows how to punch, that does it professionally at the highest level. And Dean is not even like a highest level dude. He's just someone who's had some boxing matches. We're not talking about the greatest boxer of all time like Claressa is. Yo, a straight punch by someone that really technically knows what they're doing, that's a knockout artist, I'd be a little worried. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And I hope it never comes to that, man, because you're my man. I hope it never.
So, really quickly, do you think that was a joke or a little bit of a mixed in with a joke? The reason why I say that is because he said it several times, like, hey, I'm referring to you. Like, are you concerned? Your girl can beat up men, or she says she can.
Comes to that.
Ain't that
But listen, man, I've had violent women in my past. I've had abusive women in my past.
Really?
You know? And it's not cool. Nah, it's not cool, man. You're in a fucked up situation because, you know, you're a man, you know, but still no one wants to get hit.
But that's the key part you said, Vlad. You're a man, man. And as a man, you know, we're never supposed to put our hands on a woman. And when we lead by example, but like you said, you can't control other people's actions sometimes. I get it. I don't want you to think I don't hear you, but nah, not over here, man. We don't play them type of games.
Okay.
He don't hear him. Let's continue.
Well, the interesting thing is, though, when I put that tweet up, a lot of the responses was, oh, he's not going to break up with her. She makes all the money. Now, she's done interviews that basically said that you pay all the bills.
I'm going to rewind that one more time in case you didn't catch it, y'all. And y'all tell me, stop it at the marker. Stop it at the marker right here. And tell me if you caught what I caught. And I'm going to tell you, but I'm going to pause it for a little bit. I'm going to rewind it for a little bit to allow you to go ahead and tell me if you caught what I caught. Because I'm going to tell you what I caught.
Buddy.
Wait, let's go back.
Now, well, the interesting thing is, though, when I put that tweet up, a lot of the responses was, oh, he's not going to break up with her. She makes all the money. Now, she's done interviews that basically said that you pay all the bills.
What you want me to do, Vlad? Like I said earlier.
What you want me to do, Vlad? So I'm gonna go back one more time and I'm gonna tell you, because what I caught the very first time I heard this, and it just made my skin crawl.
Oh, he's not gonna break up with her. She makes all the money.
You're correct. That is true. They didn't lie. I agree. Am I making any sense? That's exactly what I got from that. And so what are you saying? It's true.
Now, she's done interviews that basically said that you pay all the bills.
What you want me to do, Vlad? Like I said earlier, false narratives. We live in the era where there aren't many leaders. That's why on social media what we have followers. So once a false narrative goes out,
He thought he ate with that line. We don't have no leaders. That's why on the social media, what do we have? Followers. He thought he ate with that line. Let's continue.
unfortunately, everybody jacks it. But you look at Papoose, right? Since I came in the game, every time you ever see me decked out, always, carry myself in a, oh, let me just get to the point. Always been fly,
Yeah,
right?
please do.
Heavy
Get to the
jewels,
point.
right? Nice whips. Okay, moving on forward from that.
And I'm just going to stop really quickly. You notice his defense to that is that he's fly, he has heavy jewels, nice whips. Do you know how many people get, and no shade, get money, get a large lump sum of money, and can do the same thing? You don't really have to have a large lump sum. Just get it one good time and get the jewels and the thing, and they've got bad credit. Their bank account's negative. They have nothing else. You know what I'm saying? So that's in the grand scheme of things. All I'm trying to say is, at a person of 48 years old, it should be a little bit more to you than heavy chains, heavy jewelry, fly whips. I'm always dressed nice, because as I gotten older, I realized the richest people, when you come interacting with people that have real money, and I'm talking about long, real money, they're not flashy. They might have a pair of stud earrings on that might cost thousands and you wouldn't know it because it's just a tiny little stud. They might have a t-shirt on that costs $20 for real, with a pair of sandals that cost $200 because the quality of it makes and the comfiness. They're not really jumping out the window to let you know, hey, look, guys, hey, look, I'm wearing Gucci everything, Louis this, Fendi that. It tends to be the people who don't have it that tend to flash like that. So for him to use that as a reference line to say, hey, look, guys, I got money. Look how I dress. Look, like Remy dressed you. We know Clarissa's dressing you now because we can honestly see the difference. You're dressing like Claressa, if that makes any sense. So that was not a good defense to say like, oh, I got the cars and the whips. Like, that's very superficial and very shallow, if you ask me, for a 48-year-old man. But let's continue.
Grinded out with my brother DJ K Slay. When I met Slay, I already bought my first house before I even got my first record deal, by the way. My first deal was one.
And I want to say right here really quickly, when did Remy and him get together? Was it before or after K Slay? The reason why I asked, because I do remember just recently, not that long ago, because it's popping up in my algorithms, right? I saw old footage of when she was being interviewed, her and Papoose, and I want to say it was Angie Martinez or something, but y'all keep me honest out there. And they was like, how did it feel when you guys first got together? Like, how was it? And she was like, I was not prepared for it because, oh my God. Oh, she said, how did it feel being newlyweds? Because they had just gotten married. And she was like, I don't know how, I was like, oh my God, because here comes this grown man into my house with all his stuff. And he was like, yeah, either he said he had an apartment, or I feel like he said he had an apartment and he, felt it was just only right to move into the house with Remy. So when did you buy your first home? Are you calling the home that you moved into with Remy your first home that she purchased prior to you moving in there? But let's continue.
$5 million. Consistently, I met Slay in 04.
Okay, 04.
Consistently put out music from 04 to 2007 when I finally signed to Jive Records. So I had to keep my name hot and relevant for 3 years. But when I signed for how much, Vlad?
1.5.
$1.5 million, right? Which is a bigger deal than a lot of these your favorite rappers, but that doesn't make me better than them. Let's move on along. Okay, I signed for $1.5 million deal, myself and my brother DJ K-Slay.
That was his way of trying to throw an underhanded shot at us as fans of people that we think are greater artists than him. The reason why I say that is this. He says 1.5 million, and that's bigger than some of the artists that you feel, some of your favorite artists, but that doesn't make me better than them. That was sarcastic. Like, I should be considered better than them because I got a bigger deal at the time. But let's break down those deals back then. Let's break them down, shall we? Now, do I know his contract? Do I know the stipulations of that contract? No. But I do know he was very vocal several years ago, and not that long ago, about his disdain towards the contract. He even told a story about how someone called him up a couple of nights before he was offered the contract. And they told him, hey, look, they're going to offer you a contract for $1 million. Don't take it because they're going to drop you and not put your music out. It's more of a tax write-off for them. And he was like, I don't care. He said he didn't know who it was. He thought somebody was playing on his phone. And he was like, whatever, like that, and ignored them, cussed them out, and signed the deal 2 days later. And then as soon as he signed, everything that person told him anonymously on the phone happened. So there you go. But besides that happening to him, let's look at those deals that were back then. The most common deal, and like I said, I don't have access to the actual contract itself, but the most common deal was a situation where you got the money in advance, right? So they give you 1.7 million in advance, right? But guess what that entails? That's not for you to go buy your house and to buy jewelry and to throw money in the club with. That money is for everything. That is for your studio time. So if they are requiring you, and back then they would require a couple of songs. So anywhere between 10 to 20 songs. Like say if you're saying they're going for a 10, in some instances, if they say they want 10 tracks on the album, you have to produce 20 tracks, right? Because it's kind of like, with construction, you want to get a couple extra pieces of lumber in there for mistakes, or just in case one isn't as sturdy or one is a weaker piece of wood, you got some extras, right? Or just in case it's short or you cut incorrectly, you got some extras. So it's the same thing with music. You don't really just say, hey, here's my 10 songs. At the minimum, they're going to want to hear at least 20, right? So those 20 songs have to be recorded, written, produced, engineered, mastered. You know what I'm saying? So those are several different processes it has to go through, those 20 songs. So we're just going to use 20. So every studio session, let's say you knock out 2 to 3 songs in a session. That could save you some money there, right? Now, let's say you knocked out, because it's not going to be, you can say, oh, I recorded 5 songs today. But that don't mean all 5 songs are ready to go, right? You might have to come back to mix down a song. And then you can't just come in, I mixed this song, literally some songs can take days or weeks to mix. So all of that, every time you go into the studio to get a work done and completed on each of these 20 songs, that's being charged to the game. So either the A, give you the advance money and you use it to pay it. Right? And then if you use it to pay it, guess what they're going to do anyway? Because they paid for your studio. They paid for your promotion. They paid for a couple of music videos. They paid for a couple of late night snacks and a couple of outfits. And hey, they even got a gold chain out the situation. Sometimes you might even got a car out the situation, out of the lump sum of money. Now the product is out. Now we need that money back. Sales, the first off the rip, it's going back to them. Any type of radio play, off the rip, going back to them. CD play, off the rip, going back to them. The only thing back then, if you played your cards right and negotiated, you might have been able to keep your sales from performing, right? But in some instances, ticket sales, going back to them, right? If you get sponsored, picked up for anything, it's going back to the label until they make that 1.7 million back. Now, if a situation happens where the album is a flop or it just never comes out or any of the above, is just not successful, now you owe them because it's just like a loan, right? In some instances, I don't know, get a loan on the car got repossessed, but now that loan and that balance is on your credit. Am I making any sense? So that's kind of like how those deals were back then. It was kind of like an advance loan, like a payday loan, if you will. They pay you up front before you do the work, and then in the hopes that you do the work that's going to produce not only payback for them so they can get their 1.7 back, because after they get their 1.7 back, then anything going forward you get. But if you didn't pay them back, then now they own you. You're gonna have to pay your way out of that. It's like a debt. It's a loan. So that's why in recent years a lot of people shied away from that, and that's why it's just like a lot of differences. Indie artists, etc. Going direct to consumer. Different things that are being done right now because of situations like that. Right. So in the grand scheme of things, if you're just talking here, and that was how many years ago? 1.7 sounds great. Like, damn, he got 1.7. But it's not really like, I signed you, here's your 1.7. I signed you, here's your 1.7 for you to go produce the product that I paid for. Bring that product back so that way I can then push that product and make my money back. Am I making any sense to y'all? If I don't make my money back now, you owe me. I'm in your pockets forever. Forever. But anyway, a little bit to the left, but I just wanted to break down. And I'm not saying that was the exact stipulation of his contract, but back in those days, that was kind of majority, the blanketed general understanding of those type of contracts. But let's continue.
I'm touring in Norway, Amsterdam, Russia, touring overseas.
All of that
Russia,
has to be recouped.
In Africa, I'm like a god. There's footage of this. If you go online, there's a whole tribe of people who name themselves Papoose just off the influence of my music, right?
A whole tribe of people that name themselves Papoose just off the influence of his music. Okay, so let's continue really quickly. So I'm using the screenshots, right? But I'm going to pause right here so you can see this. Vlad turned to this to show people out there saying, Papoose, Papoose, Does this look like a tribe of people, or does this look like just people living in a village, right? Just people in the community. But I feel like he was a celebrity. People say he was a celebrity, so they're like welcoming him. He's saying that they're calling themselves Papoose because of his music. Africa, this one is for you all out there. Is there a tribe of people that call themselves Papoose because they think that Papoose is a god in Africa? Please stop it at the market right here and let me know. Let's continue. And there's just one lady singing that. The lady with the basket on her head. And the cameraman, which is them.
Made a ton of money, toured different countries all over the world. Bring it up to date, Vlad. I transitioned to executive and become head of hip hop at TuneCore, one of the biggest distributors of music, which was numerous six-figure deals right there by itself. Then you can Google this stuff, by the way, Vlad. I'm telling you this.
Now, this is interesting to me. Whenever he's trying to give himself accolades, he encourages you to Google it. If someone's talking crap about him, the internet is an untrustworthy place. You can't believe everything on the internet, right? If it's something about 50 Cent, or if someone's, praising 50 Cent, or if you Google something about 50 Cent, that's a false narrative. But he wants you to Google that he's a god in Africa and all the people love his music, etc. The contradictions run deep and the delusion is high. Let's continue.
A six-figure deal with TuneCore, do 2 other six-figure deals within that situation by itself. And this is all publicized. Do a six-figure deal with Google. You can look this up, myself, T-Pain, and a couple other people. Another large, tremendous deal. So in the process of me transitioning to executive, I've been having a very successful executive career. I'm also an executive at Win Records. Oh my God, we get so much money. We do so many big concerts, so many of your favorite artists.
So he keeps on saying that. He's been saying that for years. So many of the big concerts, so many of your favorite artists. The only concert I've seen was the one in Hawaii. I've seen Khadijah on stage. Buster wasn't even there. Y'all keep me honest. Was Buster there? I feel like the headliners were Khadijah and Papoose at the Hawaii show. Are there any other shows? Maybe they've done a show in Africa. I know that him and Khadijah performed at some type of looking like a wedding venue. And it might have been Africa. What concerts have they put on? And why wouldn't you name them? Right? Because of me, I would be like, yo, Win Records, we did so many concerts. Yo, for example, the concert last year where we had 21 Savage out in Hawaii. Did you see a couple of months before that, we had such and such in Puerto Rico. We had such, name venues, name spots, name people. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we had Remy Ma at, this club in North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? Like, put a name to a face. Put some of those our favorite artists, put their names to your venues where they were at. Show us a flyer of a past venue with people other than you on it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you've been saying it, but we're not seeing it. So far, we've seen Claressa and Lemon Pepper. Khadijah, we've seen Buster and Papoose. All right. Oh, and Sean 2 Miles. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with any of the people I named. I'm just saying, like, who is the favorite artist that was at the concerts that you put on? Like, instead of saying that general blanketed statement, why don't you give us examples of some of the like last October we put on a show in Hawaii. We had 21 Savage out there. You see what I'm saying? And then you go like, oh damn, I remember that concert. That was them. Do you see what I'm saying? All right, let's continue.
We're the ones paying them and booking these concerts all over from Hawaii to California, everywhere you go. So you got an executive at TuneCore, you got an executive at Win Records, consistently putting out music, toured every country, right? Dropped 12 albums in 1 year, never done before in hip hop. I've been getting so much money, Vlad, right? Okay, let me finish. So,
he said, let me finish. I really wish that I could be a fly on Vlad's wall just to see Vlad's face, like be behind Papoose on that wall behind him right there and just look at Vlad's face. Because his uncomfortable laugh is telling me more than I need to know of them. Am I making any sense? Because it's like the silence, the awkward silence from Vlad. And then he's like, let me finish. Vlad didn't even say anything, but he wants to finish. It's like, he's like, damn, I'm not saying enough to impress Vlad. So he tries again. Let's continue. Hit you with the what?
A father who takes care of so many people. If you put a microphone on these people, they'll tell you that. This man has taken care of me, protected me, fought my battles, did it all. It speaks for itself. Unfortunately, when I got into a little back and forth online, she wanted to assassinate my character, so certain things were said. And
I'm going to pause. Who is she? That's what my Jamaican granny would say. Who y'all talk to? Who is she? Because that's a lot, like her and my mom. That's the last thing you better say, be referring to is them. You better say mother. I didn't even tell you that. Like, I always say about my granny. I don't call my mother mommy, or I call her mother. Very prim and proper, yeah. But you think I could be like she? You want to see how box you across your face? Type of action. So that's my mom and my granny. However, your wife is kind of the next level of respect too. I put it up there too with the moms and the grannies. Now, your ex-wife or soon-to-be ex-wife, if you're having problems, is not amicable, which she says is amicable. She's mentioned you around Christmas. She said, oh, the furs I used to buy for me and Pap. Then she was like, oh, when I call Pap, he comes. Right? She let you at the birthday party. So it doesn't look like she's giving you problems. It doesn't look like she's being a hard ass in the situation. So why is it so hard for you to say her name? We all know who she is. And you're trying to say it like we've just seen years and years of abuse from her towards you. And now I don't want to say her name. You don't want to say her name because you know the stuff that she has said is true. Let's continue.
They were all lies, Vlad. And for those who fell for the lies, I feel sorry for you. Because
Really?
You've been bamboozled. You've been hoodwinked.
Nah, Pap. You know who fell for the lies? Clorenzo fell for the lies. Your lies. I hope that she wakes up. I hope that she spends a little bit more time away from you to see how her money's not being depleted. See how her money's not being departed for casino chips and Gucci and Louis. One shirt, one pants type action. She need to be taking you to Old Navy. I don't think to the deal's clearance tab. That's where Claressa should be buying your clothes based on the contributions that you're doing to the life.
So that's where that came from, Vlad. That false narrative came from that. It came from an exchange. And I think if people weren't so shallow, they would just look and realize that before that false narrative took place, you never heard no shit like that on my name, ever. So it's all cap.
Listen
Yeah,
to
man,
silence.
listen, you've always been fresh. You know, I've never seen you fucked up. You've never asked me to borrow money like from my other friends in my life. Like, yo.
You said he'd be laughing. As soon as Vlad talks, he laughs. Like he's hoping to gain Vlad's favor, if you will. And he's really trying to like laugh and make it seem like they're cooler than they are. But is it just me? Have y'all, we're on episode 8 at this point of the whole situation. Is it just me, or we're on installment 8? Is it just me, but it feels like Vlad is not feeling him or the situation at all? When he stood 10 toes down like, yo, I'm kind of being funny, but I'm not. You know, and then he turns back around here, he's asking himself like, hey, is she the breadwinner? And then he's like, and the answer, he didn't really give no answer. He didn't say, like, when he say, oh, well, she said recently that you paid the bills. That was an alley-oop for him to be like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's not even that I pay all the bills. We work together, 50-50, or I do what I can, right? He said, what do you want me to do, Vlad? Basically, like, what do you want me to do? She's going to say what she wants to say. And I'm going to let her say it because it makes me look good. That's my opinion. But at the end here, he's like, oh, I got jewelry, this, that, another, like all the false narratives before my he didn't even say ex-wife. He said before she went on live and did whatever, doing that false narrative, you never heard nothing like that about me. You're correct. That's one thing I will agree with Papoose on. Before the whole Remy live situation, I was rooting for Pap. Like, damn, what's going on here? I'm seeing her at Easy to Block. Where's Papoose? I remember I even reacted to the news article where the news lady was like, where's Papoose? Where's Fat Joe? Where's the Golden Chocolates? Who is this? Do y'all remember that? So a lot of us was like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like defensive on, in regards to Papoose as the husband in the situation. But then now hindsight is 2020. We look back, we're seeing things. And then if you moved unlike what she said, right? So that's the thing for me. If you were moving one way, and Remy said you were moving this way, right? But then now we look at it. You're over here moving the way Remy said you're moving. And you're not moving the way you want us to believe. Like nothing you're doing is lining up over here anymore. That's out the window. The black love, that old, whatever we thought of Papoose is out the window. That's gone. This is what we're left with. What Remy gave us as a marker or a reference guide. What Remy gave us in that live last year. Coupled with Claressa, who he says is a woman's example of the man who leads them. He said it himself. So if we're looking at Claressa's actions, that's an example of him who's leading her. Coupled with his actions, I believe Remy. I believe Remy. Women don't get a lot of props for that because, they say we're unhinged, we're unstable, we're angry, boom, boom, boom. That's why in some instances, especially an instance like this, the best thing to do is to be quiet. So once again, I'm going to give Rem a shout out and some kudos. Be quiet. Let it unfold. Remove yourself. And then now that you're out the equation, let's see what happens. And she did a great job because we're seeing it unfold. Now I hope that Claressa sees it. And I'm making any sense because you're young. And I'm going to say one more thing and then I'm going to let him finish and then I'm going to be out. Remember when Remy was with him in the trenches? She had a little bit more weight on her. Not saying she was not good looking or nothing like that. She had a little bit more weight on her. She actually looked a little bit older. Everyone's saying right now she looks like she's aging in reverse, right? But she's away from him. She's doing her own thing, living her best life, right? Now who's with him? Claressa. And she looks older than Remy. She's taken on that. She's taken on the stress that Remy unloaded onto her. Right? So I say, a lot of people are like, well, that's good. She deserves it because she slid in that lady's DMs. And let me tell you, I'm not going to fight that. I agree. I've did a bunch of episodes where you hear me say that. And I feel like if that's who she wants to be with this guy over here, you know what I say? I'm going to beat that dead horse until there's a divorce. So you know how I feel about that. But I will say, if Claressa decides to think about it and say, you know what, I am a young girl. I am the best thing popping between the two of us. Let me go ahead and do me and leave this old situation alone. And I'm not even age-wise, just this baggage alone. I bet you $1 she'll start looking younger again. I bet you $1 we'll start being like, well, what happened? Right? We see pounds and pounds of makeup. We probably won't even need to see all of that going forward. So we'll see. But I'm going to continue really quickly.
Yeah,
then we're going to get out of
listen,
here.
Yeah, like come on, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just false information, man. And some people know it, most people know it, but they just want to have something to say, man. It's bullshit, though. So shout to Claressa, man. She's one of the best things that ever happened to me. I love her to death. She's amazing, kind-hearted, just a great person all around, man.
The end piece, he had to say something to kind of clean it up to say, he loves Claressa. But he didn't even say, like, I love you, Claressa. He said, shout out to Claressa. She is the greatest thing that ever happened to me because she's paying my bills. I'm on the payroll. I get an allowance every week. She buy me designer stuff, not DH Gate stuff. And I don't have to do nothing. And I don't even have to be there. And I can go to the casino whenever I want to. From Mohegan Suns to Hard Rock. But anyway, guys, I'm going to leave that right there. And we're waiting for the next couple of installments. I'm keeping my ear to the streets. And I'm going to leave it right there. And I'm going to tell you all, you already know what I'm going to say. Join me in the comments. Don't meet me there. Beat me there. Okay? And right now, I'm going to hit you with the motto and leave you with the brand. If you like anything I do, tell a friend. If you don't like anything I do, tell a friend. And from my lips to your ears, you know I love you, right? But I need you to love me. So go ahead, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Once you hit that subscribe button, hype me up, turn on your notifications, then join me in the comments, and then share it. Tell a friend, and tell a friend. And until next time, it's your girl Gangali, and it's She Could Talk the Podcast, and I'm out. Peace.
They talk about it. They talk about it.